Hi everyone, this is a quick video introduction to week 2 for school community relations course. I just want to give everybody a little overview of what to expect and some hopefully clear directions on completing the first part of your final project that is due next week. You can look at the date on the syllabus for that. You'll be completing your current plan analysis. Um, you might enter this project in one of two ways. If your school has a written, pretty formal, and pretty comprehensive school, family, community engagement plan, then you should have that by now, or if you don't, be getting it in the next couple days. Um, that'll have written plan documents for how your school engages parents in the community. If your school is lacking a plan, or if the plan perhaps is under your Title I plan, but it's really only a small piece of what your school does to engage parents and community, then you might need to start with that plan, but then add to it. What we're using as family and community activities are anything that is used to relate the community and parents with the school. That includes newsletters being sent home, using school space for community groups, either church services, athletics, if you run out the gym, um, family nights, literacy nights, math nights, fun carnivals, parental conferences, even legally required IEP meetings where parents come to the school. All of those are ways which schools engage their parents and community. So what I'd like to see in the Course 2 Documents folder, there's called the Current Plan Analysis Worksheet. You're going to complete that worksheet, which is essentially a table asking you to describe all of the activities your school does throughout the year to engage parents in the community. I want you to use what's actually happening, so don't put things that we're planning to do but haven't ever done yet. So put current things you actually have done. In the descriptions section, I'd like you to put in number of participants, how often, once a month, once a week, how often does this occur, participation, high, low, and a little bit of just your reaction to the success of this plan item. Is it seem to be working really well? Wish we could do it more. Does it seem to be just a waste of time? We go through the motions and we have report card night, but only 5% of the parents come, and so we need to rethink that. It's okay to evaluate the pieces of the plan. Now, the goal here is to come up with a revised plan that makes a little more sense and will have a little more success for both your school and your kids. Um, After your description of everything that your school does to engage with parents and community, you'll see 3 columns, and you're going to be asked to categorize each activity according to 3 typologies. One is Epstein's 6-part typology of parent engagement. So if this is an activity that involves parents, you're going to use that column and give it a 1 through 6, depending on what type. If that's parenting, parent learning in the home, collaborating with the community, the types are listed at the top of the worksheet, and there's a description in the introduction of the yellow book you read previously that gives a little more detail on what those categories mean. So everything that engages with parents, you'll categorize in that first column. If it's a activity that doesn't include parents necessarily, say Home Depot gives you supplies for your community garden, for your school garden, or Exxon Mobil gives you science equipment every year, but parents aren't in the loop, then you can just put an NA for not applicable under the parent piece. The next column you see is Grunig's type, and that is from the Public Relations Kowalski text. If you want to read up more on that, it's in, I believe, the first chapter there. You'll categorize it one of 4 ways. One way, two way, symmetrical, asymmetrical. So you'll select one of either a one way or two way type of communication, and a symmetrical or asymmetrical. Symmetrical communication is information that it has some benefit for the receiver, whereas asymmetrical just really is telling the story from the perspective of the teller, meant to make the teller look good. One way is communication that's only going out, and 2 ways communication where I'm both speaking and listening. So a newsletter that's sent to potential fundraisers would be one-way asymmetrical communication, because I'm just trying to make the school look good so that you'll be an investor in it. And I'm not giving you a chance to communicate back other than writing a check, which wouldn't count as communication in that sense. A two-way symmetrical communication might be having a parent cabinet at the school that met with the principal once a month to talk about their experience as parents, and how that feedback build back into the way the school operates. That's sort of the ideal form of communications, two-way symmetrical. The last column on there is Sanders and Harvey's partnership purposes typology, which is just what is the intended benefit of this partnership. Is it tutoring for students, student learning? Is it raising money for a field trip for the 8th grade class? Is it to send teachers to professional development workshops? Is it whatever the categories are? So the categories are listed. The article is posted in discussion or course documents folder number 2. If you want to read it, it's optional reading. But I think you can it's pretty straightforward what the partnership purposes are. I think those are listed at the bottom of the worksheet. So every item that you come up with in your table, rank according to those 3. That's the first half of this assignment. The second half is to do a write-up, no more than 5 pages, 5 to 7 pages, I say, probably the max, which you're going to use tables and analyze according to each of the 3 typologies how you did. So we'll count up all the Epstein typologies, give me a little bar graph. How'd you do in each type? Give me a similar bar graph for Grunig's typology and Sanders and Harvey's typology. Go through typology by typology, give a little narrative discussion on how your school fared using that typology. Were you pretty well balanced along the types? Were you really heavy in one and not in the other? Which should get your brain working in the direction of what are some areas we need to beef up our school community relations program. At the end, you'll provide sort of a holistic summary of what seems to be missing in your current plan and what are some potential areas to start working on as you revise the plan. So you'll do some table by table and typology by typology analysis, and then pull it together at the end with probably a couple pages of narrative, giving your initial evaluation of your community relations plan as you've learned by looking at comparing with those typologies. That'll be due by email as a single Word doc. There's a sample project from Trayvonia Dewey at Oak Prairie Walker High School. She did a good job with this a few years ago, and so I've posted hers there. You'll see that she included the graphs in addition to a narrative and in addition to the full table. So I want to see both the worksheet and the narrative with graphs embedded in there as your final submission. If you have any questions, I'll be on email, and I look forward to seeing what you come up with for this. Be in touch.